Have you ever purposely not studied for a test? Just so that if you failed, you could tell yourself it was because you didn't try? Yeah. Apparently this phenomenon has a name in psychology, and it's actually a thing that other people besides you and I actually do. So we're not alone in this, which is good news. The bad news is, though, that we have to conquer it, because this phenomenon is called self-handicapping and it's not doing you or I any favors. So without any further ado, let's get into this topic. Yes, so stupidly enough, I had done this pretty much my whole life. And I didn't realize that this thing had an actual name, right? Like, I wasn't the only one doing it, but then when I searched it up, what it was that I was doing and stuff like that, apparently it had a name. It's called self-handicapping. And so I was like, okay, it has a name, so it probably also has like a solution, right? We have solutions to conquer this self-handicapping that we're talking about, right? Luckily, yes, we do. We have a few solutions. But before we get into those solutions, let's first talk more about what this self-handicapping is and, you know, the causes, other causes than not wanting to fail so desperately, to just prove to yourself that you're not as useless and as stupid and as worthless and as knowledgeless as you think you are. But yes, there might be other deeper rooted reasons as to why you are self-handicapping, so we'll talk about those as well. So yes, without any further ado, let's get into it. And yes, if you've been watching my videos, you can see now that I've added like an addition to my tableaus, to this corner here where there are like frames and stuff. This is a painting that my mother actually painted, and she's a very, very, very talented painter. So if you're interested in buying or seeing more of her paintings, please let me know, because she is an artist who sells them. So lucky for you, you might end up with one of her paintings. And the other one as well, you can't see it as much, but there's two people there, you know, like from some sort of Korean movie scene. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's supposed to be a castle there into the distance. You know what? I'll film it in some other videos sometimes for you to see clearer. And yes, if you've noticed, and I want to boast about it a little bit too, I have a bigger like oil lamp. This one I had bought like 3 weeks ago, but it wasn't ready to use because it was leaking oil. And so that was really annoying, and I had to glue it with some, what's it called? Epoxy. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Yes. Anyways, so I finally did it, and I also painted it the color so you can see it. Can you? No, you can't. You can't. Anyways, so yeah, I was really happy. And another thing that I have to mention is this beautiful, beautiful t-shirt with Gilmore Girls. Look at it. Yes, I am the biggest Gilmore Girls fan ever. I've seen the series like 3 or 4 times together with my mother and my sister. We love it so much. And let me show you the back of this t-shirt. Hold on. I hope you see it. Did you see it? I hope you saw it. Anyways, okay, now we can get back to the video. So, self-handicapping is a psychological self-defense mechanism where you unconsciously or consciously, like me, create obstacles for delays so that if you fail, the failure can be blamed on the obstacles rather than your ability of doing the thing that you said you were going to do. So instead of discovering your limits, the mind protects the ego by never fully testing them. Does that make sense? Are you seeing yourself in this? Because if you are, there's no shame in it, because I do it, and I've done it in the past and I still do it, you know? I'm supposed to be studying for my A-levels right now, but what am I doing? I'm filming a video for you, so if that doesn't prove it, then I don't know what will. Anyways, so this often appears as procrastinations, endless preparation, waiting for the perfect timing, starting many things but never finishing them, and convincing yourself you need just one more step before beginning. Or simply choosing to do another task instead of doing one that you should actually be doing, like studying, for example, making a video, which I do not recommend you do, but you know, that's also a way it can manifest. So the inner logic sounds like this. If I don't start, I can't fail. If I'm not fully prepared, failure won't mean I'm incapable. Once everything is perfect, then I'll begin. Yeah, that sucks. And so the real paradox is that the protection becomes a problem. The cycle usually looks something like this. First and foremost, the process often begins with setting extremely high standards for ourselves and believing that the result must be exceptional from the very start. Then, because the expectations are so extremely high, the possibility of not meeting them begins to feel threatening rather than simply part of the learning process. Afterwards, to reduce the risk of failure, The mind convinces itself that most preparation is needed before taking the action. As preparation stretches on, the task begins to feel heavier and harder to start, leading to procrastination or complete inaction. The longer the delay continues, the more frustrated we become with ourselves for not doing what we know we should be doing. And in response to that frustration, we tend to raise the expectations even higher, believing the next attempt must be flawless now to compensate. And then the task now carries even more pressure than before, making it feel increasingly difficult to begin and reinforcing this vicious cycle you are in. Yeah. Sound familiar? Yeah. Really does. Wow, it's a slap across my face. So the mental block begins to reinforce itself. Each stage feeds the next, turning hesitation into a loop where fear slowly becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we delay, the more intimidating the tasks feel, you know? And so what once seemed manageable begins to feel overwhelming, simply because so much pressure and expectation has accumulated around it. So in this way, the mind creates the very outcome it was trying to avoid in the first place. Working against you. Don't trust it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. Anyway, so the fear of failing prevents action, and the absence of action prevents progress. And so as time passes, the person may interpret the lack of progress as evidence that they were incapable all along, even though the real obstacle was never ability, but avoidance. And the most important part, this pattern is often misunderstood as laziness. So in reality, self-handicapping is rarely about lack of motivation, but it's more often a form of emotional self-protection. And so by delaying, over-preparing, or avoiding the task entirely, the mind protects itself from the vulnerability that comes with trying and possibly falling short. If we never truly attempt something, we never have to confront the possibility that we might fail. And so breaking the cycle does not require complex strategy, okay? In principle, it's actually very simple, but it's emotionally uncomfortable. So prepare yourself. So it begins by starting before you feel completely ready. Waiting for the perfect moment often means waiting indefinitely because perfect conditions never truly exist, okay? So don't wait for the perfect moment because it's never going to come. You create your perfect moments. The perfect moment is when you start. There, think of it like that. I bet that's gonna help. Anyway, so another important step is learning to allow imperfect attempts, right? We are also afraid of failure, that we don't realize that actually failing is what teaches us the things that we had to learn, you know? Failure is the best teacher, and if we fail a lot, we also become better, right? We evolve. We know where we went wrong, we know what to do better, and that's how we evolve. We level up, we know better, okay? So progress almost always begins with imperfect work, mistakes, and adjustments along the way. Don't expect to start the journey having it all figured out, having it all be perfectly laid out, you know, having a full perfect plan. It's never perfect. You're definitely going to adjust, and that's totally okay. That is normal. That is the way it's supposed to be. Actually, expecting perfection from the very beginning turns learning into something impossible. So don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Another thing that is super helpful is to shift your attention from perfection to progress. Small steps forward may seem insignificant in the moment, but trust me, they accumulate over time and they turn into something big. And they gradually build momentum. Do not underestimate momentum. It's very important. And remember, what matters is movement, not flawlessness. There, I said it on my first try. Oh my God, I'm so happy. The longer we wait for the perfect moment, the more influence fear gains over our decisions. Each delay strengthens the belief that starting is risky or overwhelming. And over time, hesitation becomes a habit. We don't want that. No. And ironically, most people lose a lot of time waiting to begin than they ever would by starting imperfectly. Action, even imperfect action, has the power to dissolve much of the fear that seemed so convincing beforehand. So, if you take anything away today from this video, it should be this. The discomfort you feel from failing when learning is far less painful than the discomfort of knowing you could have done better if you had simply had the courage to try. That's all I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.